Okay, back with a new one this time. This is the beginning of something a little different. This is a converted Capcom Bowling. And it is a mess. We picked it up cheap. This is not for me. So that's going to be a distinction on how this one is actually finished and built. This is for a friend of mine who wanted something cheap for his kids. And he figured a bowling game would be very good to do that. Very fun and interesting introduction into, old arcade games and stuff. So currently, it's filthy. Really, really, really filthy. And it's got an LCD screen because it's playing blind. And that's why it was cheap. The board worked, the machine worked overall for the most part, but the monitor doesn't turn on. So it was sold cheap as is. We picked it up, brought it back to the house, and we're just getting it ready and cleaned up. And the owner of the new game, the person who's going to be receiving it, does not care if it has an LCD because it's for his kids. So he just wants it functioning and playing, something that they can coin up and have some fun with. I don't know if I'm going to put free play in it or not for them. I'll have to ask to see if he wants just a push button start or if he wants them to use their allowance to play, earn their games. I'm not sure. But this thing is, it is what it is. That's all I can really say. It's filthy. So I have yet to clean it. We haven't really gone over it with, magic erasers or anything yet. Except for the trackball and the rollers, because I didn't want, the plague. There's a good chance the plague existed, I think, on the trackball here. So we cleaned it up. We cleaned the ball up. We didn't clean the control panel yet. The ball's cleaned up. The rollers were cleaned up and re-lubricated just to see what the status of them were before we did anything. It's pretty crammed in here next to the Xenophobe, just for space in the room. But as you can see, the quarter holder is pretty sweet. Tokens indicate now playing. That's pretty awesome. I've never seen that back in my day. That wasn't a thing. But the game is dirt simple. It's got a trackball, 2 buttons for hook and right, start button. And then, the coin door has the switches, and there's a coin mech in there, way inside, not hooked up. The cabinet is beat up. Looks like it was repaired at one point, and it's cheap. It's press board or whatever. It's not plywood. It's that balsa wood, or I don't know what it's called, but it's really cheap stuff. That's probably soda from 25 years ago. Again, this is not going to be a restoration. This is just going to get it working, presentable, and then afterwards we'll figure out what to do with it. We come back here. There's no water damage or anything, which is nice. The cabinet's, it's fine, other than the wear and tear of, the flake board falling apart. But we look in here, and it's playing blind because there's no glow. I'm still working on it, but there's no net glow at all. The chassis starts to power up, and then it just shuts itself down. So it's detecting something incorrect to prevent, explosions and fire. Probably it turns itself off. I have no idea if the tube even works, to be honest. I haven't swapped this out yet, but you can see it's a K4600, which is pretty sweet. If it does work, I have it over here on the desk that I'm cleaning up right now. I haven't really done any diagnostics with it, but that'll be coming. So that's why the chassis is not here. But the inside is relatively clean. The conversion was done fairly well. Everything, it looks like the original Plebeius cabinet had everything stripped out of it, except for the transformer for the monitor. And a switching power supply was put in, which was kind of, looks like it was compressed at some point. Something was up against it. I don't think it affects anything. Board itself's tiny. The splicing of the control panel, everything is very clean. Wire nuts, fine. But overall, everything is zip tied, everything's clean. There's very little dirt in the bottom here. This is even the artwork that was never put on, so we'll maybe tackle that at some point. But this is a Plebius cabinet. As you can see here, or Pleiades, sorry. I don't know why I was saying Plebius. Pleiades Century Cab. It's in good shape on the inside. We got the installation manual for the conversion kit. And this came from China or somewhere. This is a conversion board to run the LCD. This is video in with a composite sync and then VGA out, which is going over here to Adele, not the singer. And we're gonna throw it in here. We're gonna create some L brackets, maybe a VESA mount or something, get it mounted up here. The shroud is cardboard, so it's easily maneuverable and cuttable or shapeable, whatever you wanna call it. So that we can just get it hooked up, you know, mounted on and go from there. Chassis is absolutely disgusting and filthy. Black hands when you're working on it. I don't know what, I'll have to try and get a video of this when it's hooked up. I don't know what the real problem is yet. I contacted some people, and I think a cap kit is the first step to at least see what happens. Who knows? I don't even know where to start. I've never worked on one of these. I've reseated everything that's reseatable with no change in behavior. There's no indication that it's happy. So something critical is failing. The fuses are good, but it could be, you know, most likely it's a capacitor or resistor somewhere. Shotgun the whole thing. These are ancient. I was hoping there was a date on that. That might be, I don't know, Cleveland something. I don't think it was worked on before. The underside doesn't look like it had much done to it, if anything. All in all, it's in pretty good shape. That's the flux from factory, most likely. But it just doesn't turn on. It clicks and then turns itself off. And there's no glow at all, which means something's wrong. But let me see if I can get in here and coin it up, and we'll check its status. Hold on one sec. Okay, so we're gonna, there's a credit sitting there from last night. I was doing a test to see whether or not the score's saved. And they do. They save with, must be an NV RAM or something on the board, because I don't see a battery on the board, and I had it unplugged. So my whopping 135 right there is on the bottom of the chart. So we're gonna try and beat that now. We're gonna do some tests on the trackball here. I think it's a little spotty. So we give it a start. See, I'm rolling the ball to the trackball to the right quite a bit, and it doesn't move very much. Up and down seems to be a lot more responsive. This is hard to film. So I think left-right has some issues. I'm doing this from the wrong angle. I can't really see what's going on. It's terrible. Hey! Dead aim. So all in all, I think the game works very well. I'm not sure if left and right is like the opto sensor's off. Oops. Like if it's just a bad opto sensor alignment or something, it might be fixable. So I'll give that a look-see this weekend and see if I can get anywhere on that. But up and down seems to be perfect. And the hook left and right works as well. this is tough. I remember playing this as a kid, though. Much cheaper than a real game of bowling was. Pow. Alright. I'm gonna break my score. Better get our name in. Look at that. $152. Look at that. Enter my initials. See, now if I go left and right, it's extremely responsive. $152. Woohoo! So there's something a little weird with this. As you roll it side to side, you see it doesn't roll very well. We had it apart and the rollers are extremely worn. Extremely. It does go up faster than it goes side to side. Dirty. And you know, the game's playable. In this state, it's you know, for kids, who cares? It's not gonna be bad. We just want it to be reliable, so when he turns it on, it works every single time for the kids. And we'll give it a clean. I did have the board not boot when I pulled on the switch, though. The interlock here. Sound didn't chirp. There's a self-test when you turn it on, and I had no light. That blinky light didn't come on, so I wonder if there's a voltage issue or a board issue. Could just be some resistance or something as well, so I have to look into that. But these things are rock solid too. They're not terribly cheap, you know, 20 or 30 bucks. You can find them all over eBay. They come under about 12 different company names. They're all identical. And, you know, accepts YPRPB and VGA input, and in this case I have a composite sync on these wires here going in. And for testing purposes, it's just I just kind of have it hijacked off the real video cable down there. I just pulled the pins and they're just hanging off the edge here until we get real proper connectors. It's also got individual horizontal and vertical sync wires if you need that too. So this thing is pretty dirt simple. It upscales to 720p. So in case your monitor only goes that, or you have an HD TV or something, you can use that. I had to do some scaling on this. The board has some scaling options, so in case the timing puts it off the screen or something, you can change the horizontal vertical scale and where it sits on the screen. So it's really easy for testing, and in this case this will be permanent. But I also have 2 more coming, I think, for testing purposes for future games. That way if I have to take the boards out, I can do some testing outside and not worry about you know, connecting monitors up and having chassis out on the table and stuff. So that's that. Capcom Bowling. One of those games that you saw everywhere when you were growing up in the 80s, if you were alive. Bowling alleys, barbershops, doesn't matter. Must have been an easy conversion to do. And there were probably a million of them made. So that's that. I will continue this series with updates as it comes, probably soonish, because this needs to go out probably by next week or so. We'll get it cleaned up. We may put the artwork on, we'll see. If he wants to deal with the, you know, redoing the sides and fixing the wood, he's more than welcome to do that before we put the artwork on. Replace the T-molding if he wants, but we'll clean it up definitely before the kids get to touch it and lick it and sit on it and everything else kids do. So that's that. I will check in, and that wraps up part 1 of this one. So I will see you next time. If you like this video and you want to see more, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. I have other arcade and pinball videos on the channel you might be interested in, like this one, and this one, even this one. Thanks for watching.